Okay, you can't tell in this video, but my car is parked right there.
Huh?
And you're probably wondering, why is my car parked there? What had happened is my garage door spring snapped and I was trapped in my garage and I couldn't get my car out. So 3 men had to lift up this super heavy garage door. I backed out of it and I'm now can't get into my garage door. I know this is not a big deal, but we're going to get it fixed. But it's times like this where I'm like, I just want a simpler life. I feel like my house is running the show because there's always something going wrong. I have termites in my house right now and like they're raining termites because it's getting warmer and it drives me crazy. My house needs to be repiped. My kitchen appliances are getting old. The sprinkler system isn't working and my neighbor's tree is pushing down the fence on our side yard. This is the time when I start thinking maybe it's time to downsize. You know, I'm 56 years old, actually 56 and a half years old. And that's where right now you're going to tell me how good I look for my age. I'm sort of kidding. But in all honesty, it's things like this where I really start to think, oh my goodness, maybe it's time to think about taking the profits out of my house and downsizing and just living a simpler life. So for those of you who are in the same boat that I am in, maybe not for the same reasons, but are considering going to a smaller square footage and simplifying your life, I have thought long and hard about this, and I've talked to a lot of people that really liked downsizing and others who just really thought that was a bad decision and regret making that decision. So let's explore the pros and cons of downsizing. So the biggest mistake that homeowners make when they're thinking of downsizing, like I am right now, is I have this number in my head that I think my house is going to sell for, and it's probably not close. I love to think that it's going to sell for that because then I could buy another super duper house that I would probably see myself and visualize myself in. And a lot of you do the same thing where you overestimate the value of your home. So if you're going to sell your home, I would just be conservative and underestimate your home when you go to sell it. And then when you go to find your replacement property, it's going to be probably more in alignment with reality. But I have a lot of you reaching out to me saying, I've already found my replacement home, but I have to get this big number or I can't transition to this other home. I hate to tell you, but the cost of living and the cost of homes has increased substantially, and the dollar doesn't go as far as it once did. So make sure you don't overestimate the value of your home. And the other area that I see homeowners not really paying a close attention to is the cost of selling your house and the cost of moving. I do highly suggest that you call out a moving company. I mean, just because you want to know how much it would approximately cost and have them come out and give you a quote. You're going to be blown away with how expensive it is to move. Now, for some of you who are just really having a hard time parting with some of your furniture and some of your accessories, artwork, etc., and the places that you're looking at aren't going to house all your stuff, then maybe it makes sense for you to put your stuff in a storage unit and just put a timeline on it. Like, hey, in 6 months, if I'm not missing any of this stuff, I need to find it a new home, whether you donate it, give it to loved ones, etc. But don't make the mistake that I made. So back in 2009, I freaked out because we were in the Great Recession, and some of you have heard my story, but I literally freaked and sold everything I owned. And then I went from a 5,400 square foot home. I know, way too big. And I had to downsize to a 2,900 square foot home. I know, poor me. Woo, violin. But it felt really cramped for me. It was really hard to go from a 5,400 square foot home down to a 2,900 square foot home. I was so emotionally out of whack back then anyway. So what I ended up doing is I rented 3 storage units and stuck everything in there that didn't fit in the 2,900 square foot home. And I left it there for 3 stinking years until I moved here, which is about a 4,500 square foot home, also large. But then I hired movers to get all that stuff out of those 3 storage units and deliver it to my house. And guess what? I hated the furniture. It didn't fit right. It smelled weird. My taste changed within 3 years. So what did I end up doing? I gave it away. I threw it away. In fact, I had a hard time even selling it because it was all a bunch of junk. I don't even want to add up how much I spent on storage units. So if you're considering doing a storage unit, just don't make that mistake where it was so costly for me to hang on to that stuff for 3 years. I should have been more disciplined about getting rid of it. And so I should have put a timeline on it. So Audra, 6 months, if you don't miss it, then get rid of it. And I suggest you do the same. So for those of you who are considering downsizing, I want you to be a student of how you live in your house. What's your lifestyle look like? What rooms do you use the most? And how much storage do you really need? The big mistake that I see most homeowners making is they just think, oh, we just don't use those 2 other bedrooms. So, we can just downsize. It'll be fine. It's a big, big, big adjustment. When I was living in that 5,400 square foot home and moved to the 2,900 square foot home, what I failed to realize is that everything is smaller. Your garage is smaller, your kitchen is smaller, your closets are smaller, your backyard's smaller, you have less bedroom count, you have less bathrooms, and you're just living in a closer proximity to your family members. And it could drive you crazy if you're not prepared for it. Now, as we get older, our hearing can go. Either you or your partner loses their hearing, you end up talking a little louder. And you have that TV, volume higher because you can't hear it. And you're in a smaller area and it might be an open concept floor plan and it might just drive you crazy. So when you're living in your house right now, before you even consider moving, take that into consideration. The other thing that shocked me when I moved to that smaller place is I didn't realize how well constructed the previous home was. It had great insulation. So I didn't hear all the noise, people walking up and down. But my rental property that I stayed in for 3 years was not well constructed. It felt flimsy and I could literally hear a pin drop. That's how poorly the house was made. A lot of you are living in very well-constructed homes, and it's going to be really hard for you to make the adjustment to moving into a home that doesn't have that same quality. So be mindful of that. By the way, you don't have to write any of this down. I'll put it on the screen for you. It's linked down in the description box below. I have this downsizing guide just for you. So download it down below in the description box. It's free. Now, a professional tip that I'm going to give you in this section is if you truly do want to downsize, then create like a vision board. How do you want to live in your house? You can even do this on Pinterest. And if you get really clear on the things that are important and how you visualize yourself living in that next space, you'll stay focused and you won't get off track. So another mistake that I think homeowners make is they just don't realize how much stuff they have. I swear, every single seller that I've helped sell their home, they always tell me the same thing. Oh my God, Audra, I had no idea how much stuff I collected over the years. And I promise you don't either. And I used to be a serial home seller, right? I would sell my homes every 2 years and I still was amazed at how much stuff I collected. So whether you're selling your home or not, it's always a good idea to go order a dumpster and start throwing unnecessary items. And I think when you get down to it, usually what I call it the 80-20 rule, right? 20% of the things you have in your house you use, the other 80% you don't. So just kind of spend some time sorting through that. It's a good discipline to get into anyway. So I've talked to a lot of you and it's just like, Audra, it's just too overwhelming. So I would just start in one room. Just do one room at a time, one at a time, and just don't think about the whole big picture. And for some of you, that's going to help, alleviate a lot of stress. Do what you can do. Just focus, and eventually it'll get done. So I'm going to suggest that you start decluttering ahead of time because it's going to take a lot longer than you realize. When I was moving, I could not believe how many photo albums I had. It literally took up 2 solid cabinets. So what I ended up doing is I hired someone to go scan my photos for me, got rid of all those big bulky photo albums so it could create space for other essentials. So if you are living in your home, look around. What other things could you do that to? Like, do you really need to have all these things? Probably not. The pro tip for decluttering is what I call the 90-90 rule, which is if you haven't used it in 90 days and you don't plan on using it 90 days thereafter, then it's time to let it go. Okay, quick break. I want y'all to know it is 11:40 p.m. at night. I've been working on this video. It's been a long day. So you can help a girl out and subscribe to my channel. I'm trying to get to 100,000 subscribers, and y'all know it's going really slow, but I'm going to persevere. I'm dedicated, disciplined, determined, and have the desire to succeed. That's called my 4D rule. But honestly, what I'd really love for you to do is comment down below. Let us hear if you have downsized and what things that you have found beneficial and things that you regret. We all need to learn from everyone's experience. All right, let's get back to the video. So another mistake that I see homeowners making is they just think all their furniture is going to fit just perfectly fine in the smaller space. And sometimes it works out, but oftentimes it does not. Because as I mentioned before, everything's smaller. So your dining room smaller, your living room smaller, and that couch may not fit or that table may not fit. So what you end up doing is you spend all this money getting movers to move your stuff into the new house. And then you got to get rid of it because it doesn't really fit. And now you got to buy all new furniture Okay, that's called money pit. And maybe for some of you, you want all new furniture, but for heaven's sakes, don't move it into the house and then realize, oh, it's too big. So measure and plan ahead. So what I suggest, the pro tip, is that you take pictures of your furniture and get a floor plan and visualize how everything's going to fit. Because you're going to be surprised that if you are reducing your square footage significantly, a lot of the things that you have right now may not fit. So for those of you who have furniture items that are just not going to fit into the new house, or you just don't like it, and you're decluttering, and you're like, I don't want to throw this away because it's not trash, and you don't want to sell it on Craigslist because you don't want some random human being coming to your front door and walking around and moving stuff. Like, what do you do? Well, you should do what my neighbor did. It was brilliant and it was so much fun. She had a downsizing party. She sent out invitations, sent emails to friends and family, and it was a big celebration. The decluttering and the whole donation process was a celebration, and it was so fun, memorable, and we gave her a great handoff. And I do miss her. But it was fun. The biggest con to downsizing is the move. I've moved 11 times in 23 years, and I never once have said, wow, this keeps getting easier and easier. I'm a professional mover. No, I never say that, because moving is terrible. I hate it. And it's lonely, and it takes forever to get organized, and it's such a nightmare. But the biggest mistake I made when moving is I got cheap on the movers. And there was one time where the movers never showed up and they were ghosting me, and I had to get off the property. So I had to hire a super duper expensive company because they were the only ones available to move my butt and all my belongings and my family off the property. It was a bad lesson. And of course, I didn't learn my lesson. So I hired cheap moving company number 2 the second time I moved. And I swear, this is such a sad story, but they were all on drugs. And I swear they were dropping stuff and breaking stuff and stealing stuff. So if you are moving, make sure you do your research and hire a reputable moving company. You will thank me for this later. And you're going to get super organized when packing. So you're going to get those boxes and you're going to label all your boxes, what's in it and what room it's supposed to go in. And you're also going to have what I call the first day box, where you put all your essentials. You might have multiple boxes that say first day, but you want to know right away that this is the box that I need in whatever room is called the first day box, because you can't live without it. So when you move to your new destination, you're not stranded going through every box looking for your essentials. Okay, the other mistake that I see homeowners making when they downsize, or quite frankly, anybody moving, is that it's an emotional journey that a lot of people underestimate the emotional impact that it has. So try not to minimize your feelings. I mean, you're starting to pack things away. You might run across some sentimental items, or you raised your family there, or you planted certain trees in the backyard when somebody passed away or when a child was born. And it's so dang emotional. It can be overwhelming. So what I've done, and I know this sounds nuts, but it was so healing for me, is I would write a letter to the house. It was like closure for me. I actually write this letter. These are some of the memories. These are the things that I cherished here. Thank you for housing us all these years. I know this sounds crazy, but I'm getting teary-eyed just thinking about it. It was so profound for me, and it really helped me through that emotional process. Now, for some of you, that letter's not going to do it. Go seek counseling. This is a huge change. You probably lived in your house for decades, and change is hard. And don't minimize it. I was raised in a family where, you suffer silently. This is not a time to suffer silently. It's a big change, and you need to take care of your emotional well-being. Do what you need to do. For me, the letter really helped. I just thought I'd share that with you. So another con to downsizing is that you move to a neighborhood that's just not suited for you. And admittedly, I did this when I moved to my 2,900 square foot rental property. Oh, that was such a hard time. And what I did is I moved into a community, although it was lovely, it just didn't have a lot of young kids. And at the time, I had a 5-year-old son who was very active, and I got stuck in the house, and it was very lonely, and it was very isolating. And I don't want anybody watching this video right now to make that same mistake. Earlier in this video, I told you to be a student as to how you want to live in your house. And I'm challenging you to really be a student as to how you live your life now and what you want it to look like when you downsize. So for some of you, it might be like, hey, I'm a golfer. I want to play golf. Or some of you are very charitable and want to donate your time. So make sure you know you can do that in your next destination. Or some of you love to read books. Maybe you can join a book club. But I'm telling you right now, it is so important to make sure that you're connected. A lot of you are moving to be closer to family. That's fantastic. But a lot of you aren't. So make sure you know your connection source. And I wish when I moved to that 2,900 square foot rental property that I made a better decision, because I was locked in there for 3 years and it was very lonely. And I don't want anybody to be lonely when they move or downsize into their next destination. So there are a lot of pros to downsizing. Just having a simpler life. It does create a lot of freedoms. You don't have large ticket items typically. And if you do, they're not going to be the same expense because you don't have as much to repair. With smaller comes less maintenance, usually less costs. Utility bills typically aren't at the same level as a home that's larger. Another huge positive to selling your home is you get to unlock your equity. I've had so many of you own homes cash, but you can't get the equity out of your home because you're not working and you can't get the loan to get to the next destination. So for some of you, it's a tremendous amount of financial freedom and less burden, and you don't have all your money in one asset. So another pro to downsizing is for some of you, it could be like a new chapter, a reset. Some of you have lost loved ones and it's just too much for you to be in the same place and have those memories. And for some of you, you've raised your kids and you're like, yeah, we don't need all this. We don't want all the maintenance that Audra has. But maybe it's, hey, we're going to start doing our own thing. We're older now. We don't have the kids. Or for some of you, maybe you're just like, hey, I just want to lock and leave little house so I can go travel and do what I want to do and not worry about all the maintenance. Those are all good reasons to downsize. Another pro to downsizing is that you're moving to be closer to family. You want to watch those grandkids grow up. I mean, life is so precious. As we're younger, we don't notice that as much. Whatever, you're doing your own thing. But as we get older, we understand the importance of family or very close friends. So that is a huge pro for downsizing. So the most important takeaway of this entire video is I want you to take your time. This downsizing decision is a massive process. It's a huge lifestyle adjustment, and it's not something that you should take lightly. So I've been talking to a lot of you this week, and you're panicking. Like, oh my God, Audra, the market's crashing. I'm just going to throw my house on the market and get my money out. The market's going to crash. Okay, guys, all that stuff is noise. Like, don't worry about it. Like, you're going to sell your house and it's all going to work out at the right time, at the right place. Don't worry about it. It's all going to work out. But it's not going to work out if you're making decisions out of fear. Okay, I did that back in 2008, 2009. I sold all my properties out of fear. And I'm telling you, it's the worst thing I've ever done. So you don't make decisions out of fear. You make decisions because they're the right decisions. I hope you understand the difference. Now, what I want you to do is I want you to download this downsizing guide, okay? It's linked down below. It's free. There's a couple things I didn't cover in this video because I'm limited on time. And also, I want you all to know that I do have a resource guide. Download it down below as well because that's free too. So here's 13 questions you can ask your listing agent if you're thinking of selling your home. And here are some interview questions you can ask your buyer's agent. Notice they're longer than the listing agent's questions because you got to find a really good buyer's agent. Oh, and by the way, I do have a referral network. If you're looking for agents to interview, we're happy to give you a few to interview. And by the way, in this resource guide, we have hey, these are my paint schemes that I recommend for certain areas of the house. Here's some paint colors that I recommend that you paint your home. Here's some questions to ask when reviewing an offer that comes in. You should be asking your agent these questions. Here's a home staging checklist. Here are things that come up on a home inspection. So if you're looking to get your house on the market, these are things that home inspectors look for. And by the way, here's a list of things that don't come up on a home inspection. And here's a seller questionnaire. These are the things that you should be giving your listing agent if you're considering selling your home. All right, that's it for me today. Thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe to my channel, smash the like button, and let me know if you have any questions about downsizing or any topics that you would like me to discuss. Have a great day, and I'll see you in the next video.